Gentlemen, listen up closely. For all of humanity, manhood has been synonymous with strength, courage, and resilience. Our ancestors were warriors, conquerors, and builders of nations. But today, these defining qualities are being lost in the noise of modern society. We have become complacent, weak, and uncertain. We are living in a world that celebrates mediocrity and scorns masculinity. I had a friend come speak to me about how he got an iPad at age 4 and he discovered porn at age 9 and he had an addiction before he was 10 years old. Let me repeat that. A 10-year-old had a porn addiction. You want to do something cool? Close your eyes and visualize yourself as a father. Now see your 10-year-old son with a bad addiction to porn and video games. And imagine seeing your son, who is supposed to be full of energy and playing with his friends and not even being able to help him because how hyper stimulating and addicting it is. And I think what makes it even harder now is that it's not only the porn companies who are pushing porn onto other kids, but it's also kids pushing it onto other kids. 12-year-old girls twerking on TikTok, boys in elementary and high schools addicted to TikTok and stuff. And imagine this generation of high school boys on TikTok literally seeing their generation of girls showing their bodies sexually. And when you think about the age of most girls who go viral on TikTok, that's when it gets really fucked. I remember the day I got a NoFap. Like I knew about it for a little while, but I was age 14 and people were talking about it online. And on day 9 you'll get 100x strength boost or something. And I tried it here and there, not lasting more than 3 days, and I didn't really care. But the day I started taking it seriously, I'd wake up, grab my phone, watch some anime, and every 10 to 20 minutes I'd take breaks to fap on Instagram and TikTok. And I'd do that for around 1 or 2 hours before I even got out of bed. Then, for the final time, I'd go on Pornhub and watch some blonde girl getting railed. And how fucked is it? I mean, a sexual picture isn't good for you, like a bikini picture of her twerking or some shit. Yeah, fine. But actual porn where you see a man fuck a woman and like you're like this some weird dude in the corner jacking off, what does that do to your brain and your beliefs? You're kind of just conditioning yourself to be like that creep who isn't having sex but just watching. And after the final nut, my post-nut clarity hits, and I'm looking down at my semi-length dick, and I remember thinking that this is fucked. I was 14 years old and my PP wasn't even hard. I took NoFap seriously after that because that is gut-wrenching. As a man, your PP is your manhood. To see that it's not working well because you're choking it while watching porn, that's just upsetting. You need to stop castrating yourself because that's what this is. Think of this analogy because this blew my mind. What happens if you have a male dog and you castrate it? And castrating is when you cut off his penis and balls, essentially. It goes from being this adventurous dog running around everywhere, chasing squirrels and being a bit aggressive, to being this docile, weak, lazy, submissive little being. Castrating pets is a normal thing, and we see this transformation of, oh, your dog is misbehaving, you should go castrate it. It's a normal thing. But have you ever stopped to think that that shit is kind of what you're doing to yourself when you jack off? You're castrating yourself. That life you're supposed to have inside of you, that drive you're supposed to have to either go and get women or to work yourself up and be successful enough to get women, that drive inside of you just gets diminished and thrown into the garbage can. Maybe this is a conspiracy theory, but do you remember being told that masturbating and watching porn was good for you? I swear so many guys can remember teachers and articles telling you that it's good for you. It feels like the government told me that masturbating and watching porn was good for you. So many guys have been able to agree. We can't pinpoint whether we were told this by the government, but it feels like that this message being conveyed to us. Is it weird to think that it was conveyed to us because they want a generation of submissive men, especially the young men in the warrior class who are supposed to be full of testosterone, to castrate themselves so they're easier to boss around? And you might be thinking, oh, I want to stop, but I keep messing up and relapsing. And of course you do. It's normal that when you are trying to stop a habit, you still keep doing that thing for some time. It took me a couple years to actually make NoFap work because it's not like just because you say you're on NoFap, you just stop fapping. It's more so that if you have been fapping for 5 to 10 years, it's going to take you some time before you're actually able to quit because you have to counteract those like years of bad habits. So a lot of guys get obsessed over this and complain about relapsing. But you have to realize if you have been fapping for years and you're on NoFap for a month, you can't just expect to fully quit. A good level of progress is if you only fap once a week, then maybe a month from now you fap every 2 weeks, 6 months from now you fap every 3 weeks, then a year from now you fap every once a month, and at that point it's probably fine. Why do the people of NoFap become successful? And of course, this doesn't apply to everybody. There are a bunch of guys who are on NoFap and still say it's losers. But interestingly, a lot of the successful men have this in common. They stopped watching porn and masturbating. The greatest motivator that you have is your desire to fuck women. I know it's offensive and controversial, but it's true. As a man, there are two greatest motivators. One is the desire to survive. So if you are hungry or thirsty or some shit, you need shelter. That's your biggest motivator, to survive. But once your survival needs are met, which is true for 99% of the men watching this, then what's left is the biggest need, the biggest desire to fuck more women. And when you get rid of that desire, you achieve most of what you needed to do with your life. And so, of course, you feel lethargic, lazy, shameful, and tired. Of course, you don't feel motivated to do hard things. Of course, you don't enjoy hard work after busting 50 nuts in the past month. Men of NoFap become successful because they are able to harness their sexual energy, which is so incredibly important. And I know that this sounds cringe. Oh, the men of NoFap. But the thing is, your sexual drive is so important and it's being stripped away from you by yourself, but also by the cause of external influences that are telling young men that it's okay to just spill their seed. Imagine this. You put two similar men in an arena and you tell them to fight to the death, and you wanted to see which one would fight harder. One of the men, we fill him up with McDonald's and junk food, and we give him a woman to have sex with, so he's empty of sperm and full of belly. The other guy's in an empty room with no food and no woman. He's got an empty stomach and a full balls. I know this is weird, but really imagine this fight. We have this man who has a full stomach of sugar and refined carbs and empty balls, and this man with an empty stomach and full balls, and we tell him to fight to the death. Do I even have to ask you who's gonna win? I think every single person right now will say this guy, right? Some dude will come and say, oh, like he's full of like glycogen reserves. Like, shut the fuck up. If you really imagine a guy eating a big meal and a guy who stayed fasted, well, this guy's hungry and horny. The two biggest desires of a man. He's gonna fuck this guy. Pause. Okay? This experiment's really weird and stuff, but it's not that different from what's happening in our world, anyways, because we as men are always in competition. Bro, if you want to study and get good grades, your grade is in competition with other people. In your business or career, you're competing with other people. To attract women, we are competing against other men. Why are we spilling this drive to compete? Why don't we just hold that and actually use it for something that's worth more than just a few minutes of pleasure? That's why the men of NoFap become successful. They're able to harness their greatest drive, and I'm not telling you to get to a certain day. That's dumb as fuck. The benefits of NoFap aren't in streaks. The benefits come from the reduced amount of nuts per month. This traditional NoFap advice is bad for you. When they convince you that the benefits comes in streaks, and once you nut once, your benefits are all gone and you have to restart. Think about it. If you go to the gym for a week and you skip one workout, do you just instantly lose your gains? No. Imagine a fitness influencer telling this fat guy of all the benefits he'll get when he starts exercising, and then tells him that if he misses one workout, all his benefits reset. Imagine telling a beginner that he has to go to the gym every single day, and if he misses one day, it was all for nothing. That is inhumane, and that is what these NoFap YouTubers say to you, and they convince you to go on a streak. You don't need to go on a streak. You just need to reduce the amount of nuts per month. Keep your balls full and heavy, for me. If you want to be mentally tougher or more disciplined, watch these two videos.